Welcome to our Relationship Flow podcast by Ellie Goldsmith. We are putting a hold a little bit on the Unity Flow podcast just so I can focus in on what I think is most incredibly, inspirationally and flowingly important, and that is relationship focus. Right now during this quarantine, which is taking different forms, and to clarify exactly what is required takes a little bit of patience, and we just made today, thanks to my wonderful soulmate, and also event merchandising where we have a lot of t-shirts from my family in London. We were able to convert them into amazing quality face masks. Was thinking of posting for the pick of Relationships Flow podcast today a wonderful picture of cholas, of the key cholas, because it's a significant achievement to be able to get to this point where we can, have the time and the strength and the ability and the focus that my wife's managed to bring out. And it's been absolutely awesome watching her. And it's with great appreciation to Hashem. I thank Hashem every day when I wake up. That was a very good advice I mentioned in the previous class. The importance of appreciation for someone who in my life has done so much, specifically this last few weeks of just, be able to focus the kids on different activities and also managed to pull off the most amazing Pesach. We had the most amazing Seder night, thank God. And I didn't post during Pesach because I wanted, and in terms of the relationship flow, I wanted to really actually live up to what I posted in previous classes and actually put into practice and be focused. I was happy to see some well-known speakers also postpone their classes during Chol Hamoed, during the week of Pesach, because they were also being probably most likely busy with their family, and that was my focus, and I think that is the right way to go. So in terms of what did my wife do, she made a bunch of amazing face masks, hand face masks, after all the work of Pesach, all the cooking that goes on. We can't really buy any food, due to our Hasidic minhagim, so that our customs. So we basically, require a lot of cooking time and preparation time and all the different things that go into Pesach. You're always welcome when things return to normal when it's a Pesach. I don't think that'll ever be normal, new normal, whatever that is, 2021, 22, when Mashiach or whatever it's going to be in the future. The idea of having a time together, you're welcome to see, have an insight of what Pesach, all the work that goes into it, the kashrus, making sure the kitchen is up to the level of kosher for Pesach, and also the joy and the dedication to the mitzvahs, like we had Seder night, and then every day having a meal at some point with, making sure we did all the right things with the halal and the prayers, and also enjoying the day, even in quarantine, which we were in lockdown here in Israel, pretty much most of Pesach in Jerusalem, and there was police and everything everywhere, and obviously we were happy to keep all the different rules and do what was asked. And what interestingly we found is that we actually had one of the best Pesachs we ever had. And the fact that my wife still had time to make these masks just after Pesach, we already had a few bought because we were having to still go to the shops with the masks, but now it's actually obligation on everybody, and there will be fines if you don't wear a mask. So my wife, instead of just feeling, wow, let's just go buy and send me around a goose chase looking for masks wherever they are, she just took a bunch of old merchandise from my family and turned it into masks and made a few videos, which I have, if anyone's interested, in very good quality masks. A little bit of branding going on, thanks to the merchandise, and eventmerch.com. You can go check it out. And we also were very happy to go ahead. We've already last week with Yeshu Chag, with the day after Pesach, we managed to have everything packed away the night before midnight. Not one of these late nights. It was amazing how organized, and my sons helped, and my daughter, and younger daughter, and it was amazing how we were able to just quickly pack away for the new year of Pesach coming already, like we're ready for next year, and everything has its place and time, and it's a big blessing. People been dealing with all kinds of hospital experiences during this coronavirus challenge, and God forbid even people passing away, and we dedicate the fact that we're focused on relationships, which is 100% the right thing to be doing right now. we dedicate that to the elevation of all the souls that passed away recently, and please God, the full healing of everybody and everyone, and a big appreciation again. We also have to thank all the health professionals who are doing such a great job, all the cleaners and doctors and everyone, even the police, keeping everything the way it should be. Hopefully they're doing it in a fair way, and and obviously all our officials. Usually we're just hearing all the politics going on, but bottom line, there's a lot of people behind the scenes working hard and making sure that this coronavirus should be kept away from majority of the people, and people will recover, whoever gets it. And it's an interesting time. So when you're sitting with your wife and your family, honestly, you're not thinking so much about the coronavirus. You're thinking about how you can get on with them, and all the different dynamics of having different children. I have one child who's special ed on a certain level, is probably on the high end in terms of he's functional and, thank God, and healthy, but he was required by different professionals to go to special ed school, and it was amazing to see, how much he's developed. We had to take away his phone because there was a line he was involved with which was just winding him up, and we took that away, and we've seen a big improvement, him not having a phone, that he can constantly hear how many people passed away and all the other emergencies and things going on around here in Jerusalem, all the different rioting and stuff that goes on. He was hearing about it every minute on his phone. So we took that away, and thank God it's been a big change. You have to make boundaries, and that's the transition that we had from Pesach. Pesach is the week of Chesed, the sphere of kindness, and we're going to talk about this transition in our Amunah, our future class tomorrow. That will be on Monday, and it will be a very important class, the first class after Pesach. We're going to give a little bit of a deeper insight to the spiritual energy that's going on, and that is the transition to Gevurah. Gevurah means from kindness to judgment, or let's say more positive restriction, or maybe even more positively of strength. To have the strength, the power to hold back and to make boundaries in a healthy, happy way, in a joyful way, in a positive way, and to channel that strength and energy in the right direction. I was listening to Gedalia Fency do a very good class on this, how this energy change is present, and being that this is the first day of the new week, or just after Pesach, there's a lot to say. So my class today on relationship flow will be a little bit longer, and I've seen that by us giving structure, and we also have Rav Elgad on our Amunah classes, he gave an important idea, this structure that children need so much, and having a structure in our time and our schedule, and we posted that schedule already in our Instagram posts, and you can go there, you're welcome to go there and see. We have a day schedule, like a weekday schedule and a Shabbat schedule, obviously with some flexibility. Right now the schools are slowly starting to do a bit more online or phone call, conference call kind of classes, so we're going to join on to that as part of the schedule. But basically giving time and availability for our children to just tune in to the spiritual energy that's available. I do apologize for the phone ringing. That's part of being at home. There's a bit more sounds and noise, and thankfully, there's a lot of good things going on amidst all the, the challenge that's been going on a global level. And I do feel that the world, in a big way, really needs to change its focus. And I do actually have a plan on some level that was gifted to me. I had a few dreams over Pesach. One of them being. Obviously everything I'm saying is on a relationship focus. Like, I communicated to my wife, and she agreed 100% that my soulmate, that women have bini yisera. They're not just someone you live with. They're a very deep part of your soul, and they have insight to because you're one soul. They have insight to what direction you should go and who you should work with. And often my rabbis told me to speak to my wife about things, and thank God, because she's a holy woman, she still has deep insight, and I see that she's someone who can give that. Not only is she skilled at 100 different things, if I would go through the list of all the things she can do, it would blow people away listening in. I mean, she's just endless abilities of doing all kinds of things that would cost us money and time, and she's able to just do herself, and clothing and hairstyles, and she's a hairdresser, she's a clothes sitter, she's a cook and a mother and a wife and a deep soul and has exercise on the highest level. She's an exercise teacher and Pilates and aerobics, and the list goes on and on. She can do shades with hair coverings. She's able to sew, and she was going to be a fashion designer. Like, the list is just endless. She's a very deep spiritual person, and I'm very gifted to have such a righteous woman as a wife. But without going on and praising her, I just want to say that on a point that's relevant for everybody is that if you have this deeper relationship, which you should definitely work on forming with your wife or your soulmate, and to understand that, especially on the woman's side or even some men, they have a certain intuition level that's on a high level. So the dreams I had, I went and told my wife, and one of them was about bringing the Emunah Torah to an online level. Rav Orish himself was telling me in my dreams in a very uplifting way that that's the way to go. And that's what we've been doing, thank God, and we'll keep it doing. And hopefully, if we can't tour in person physically, then we'll make the tour in that level. But then there's also the other aspect of another dream I had this morning of the power of the recovery world. And I woke up and I was very inspired. I immediately messaged a good friend of mine in the recovery world. I'm not going to say his name at this point until we communicate a bit more about it. But I wrote out the whole plan that was revealed to me in this dream of basically how important recovery can be, an online recovery source of all kinds of tools and insights, and can really give a lot of growth to people going through all kinds of addictions, including myself, with the phones and everything else. We're all addicted to different aspects of things. People have all kinds of drives nowadays that maybe wouldn't have been as strong back in the day, or if they were in a more controlled way, like we're speaking about with Gevurah, having that strength to control yourself. So that was the aspect that, it came down during this week of Gevurah, a big inspiration of how we can create some sort of online recovery network. And I won't go into details on this podcast, but I realized, and again I spoke to my wife about it, she was very excited, and she said that this is something which is needs to be also for mental well-being. And I'm seeing on all the podcasts now, they're talking about all these kind of things. It's like become an awakening, a mind focus revolution of spiritual thinking, or more deep thinking, or more inner thinking, and understanding the importance of relationships and the importance of, for example, Tim Ferriss had a very famous wealthy person on his podcast saying how every single business deal, he takes the couple out for a meal who he's about to do business with, and he brings his wife along, and she is the insight whether to go ahead or not in every deal that he does, or major, big story of charity or whatever it is in his large level that he's at already now. But from years and years, this has been how everything he's succeeded in has gone together with his soulmate, his relationship partner, giving that insight and having that bini yaseh, that intuition that guides the next path. And as I was saying myself, I think that these are all things I'm going to be busy with now. I'm already busy with the Emunah tour online, but I'm going to be busy with some sort of recovery. The concept is going to be called Unified Real Recovery. That's the name I've already thought of. And it's going to be something very interesting. People can hit me up if they want to partner on it, but I'm already starting to lay down foundations, and the first things first, to speak to people that I'm close with, just to make sure that it's understood what it's about and there's resources. And right now, I think that's what everyone's going to have to do, is on some level take care of that mental self. I was looking to Tom Bilyeu on impact theory, and he brought how important it is and how much it shifted his mental well-being now. And that's something which, my wife today herself, when I told her about this idea, was pushing me in that direction, that should also contain that aspect as well. And also, have opportunities for all kinds of people who are in the therapeutic world to be featured and to be helped, and in a private setting, in a safe space. I'm going to get into all the points, but there was just a very clear vision of what needs to be done going ahead. And I don't someone who really pays attention to dreams generally, but thank God recently there have been some very profound dreams that when it came down to my wake time, that they just fit together very clear of what needs to be done to go ahead in certain levels. We all need to find our way forward right now, like new levels of ishtadlus, of attempts of bringing down the shefa, the new shefa that's going to be the new divine influence of wealth and blessing that's going to come into our life, and what direction to go. So everyone's trying to figure out, well, what is that direction? So thankfully I feel like I'm really clear about that. So I'm not going to post the key challah. I'm going to post the masks. I think that's the more, real energy right now, what's going on. And my wife made these amazing homemade masks, and that shows once again the appreciation and the giving the full respect and recognition to the soulmate that you're given is very important. And I think it's something I need to work on, how I speak and how I treat her, and in my word form, and please God, with the more divine influence, abundance that I bring down, please God, in the next coming months and years together, and please God till 120. My Rebbe did say that we'll be blessed with long life and a lot of abundance. So please God, I'll use that to respect my wife and respect my soulmate. And I think that's a big part of the relationship flow, that while you're in such close proximity again and again with your wife and your children, or your husband or whoever is listening, you have the opportunity to really give that respect. Even if, say, you don't have anyone around you, but you're online and you're talking to people online, to give them the respect online. There needs to be a big adjustment of how people talk to each other and communicate, especially right now we're in Parshas Tazria Metzora, and there's a very important awareness of how we speak and how we talk to each other, and Shmir Saloshan. You don't just say whatever you feel, that you have to have a certain inner respect. So this is something which I'm working on in a very real way, and I'm happy to share. And especially now we have a new Chodesh, a new month coming up, Chodesh Iyar, and there's an opportunity to bring down a new light of Ani Hashem Rafecha, that I'm Hashem your healer, and that we can all heal from this crazy time period we've been in, and to really formulate plans to go ahead with some sort of basic structure of what we want to do. So I'm happy that I spoke this out on this relationship focused podcast. I think that's where it needs to be right now. And please God, once we get more clarity on the unified real recovery plan, we will talk about it on the unity flow there in another week or so. Hopefully that will give ourselves a little bit of time so we can work it through, map it out, speak it out a bit more, it's exciting. People should start developing their hobbies. I was doing a lot of music initially. Now I'm like shifting to what my game plan is with work and stuff. And I think that everyone out there needs to start using this opportunity, the coronavirus challenge, to really grow with your relationships and grow with your purpose in the world, what your mission is. I'm trying to teach that to my children very much. Anything they're watching, I'm trying to take out a lesson and say, now what is your mission, and what are we here for? And to try being an inspiration to them. Shabbos was another example, not just eating the key challahs, but we also had wonderful meals, of opportunities to share a lot, talk a lot, and work through a lot. And it gives us deepens the relationship between us and our kids, even if sometimes it gets a bit intense. But that, at the end of it, if you keep going and persisting, you get somewhere in the conversations. And same with your spouse or relationship partner. And same with this podcast. I think the more we, go ahead, the more deeper and more clear the message is. It's a bit more inner, and it takes a bit more focus, whoever's listening in. I'm not some famous dude, or don't have a whole team around me helping me structure this podcast. I'm just, putting out what I feel is truth right now, and I think it's some of the points are eternal truths you can always gain from. And I wish everyone strength, to have the inner strength to do what they need to do, to make the boundaries, to make the structure, to build the mission statement of what you want to do with your life, and where you're heading. And I think this is a perfect week to do so. I've talked about it in my Muna Future class, how Gevura in this week is connected to mission statement based on the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and Stephen Covey's whole concept, but also my version of the truly effective habits of 10 habits I created myself. And you can go see there about the mission statement. It's a very powerful motivator and clarity focus of what relationships are about, and there needs to be one within your relationship, within your home, and talking it out, working it through, putting it out there, sharing it and clarifying it more and more is a big part of the process. So I'm wishing once again everyone only good news and all the strength they need, and I can't wait to share another relationship flow with a whole new energy next week, when we carry on counting our way up to our spiritual goal of receiving a new Torah within another 40 or so days with Shavuot. Okay, have a good one. Bye. Thanks for listening.